Damn. Okay, here we go. We up for another episode of the Runners Club podcast. I am your co-host Ian. Feeling mad shaky right now because I literally just got done lifting weights.
Mhm.
Like I'm like everything is vibrating right now.
Yeah, I'm your co-host Courtney, and I lost my voice, so I'm not going to talk a lot.
Oh, you was having too much fun over the week. Lost your voice. Hopefully it's not COVID, is it?
No, I mean I took a test, so I think there's just a lot of people in LA are sick right now, and I did a softball game with Athletic Greens, and it was like in the rain, and there was lots of yelling, and so I think that has a lot to do with it.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I hope you feel better. You know what I'm saying? Soon, so you can come back, share it. You know what I'm saying? Let us know how the softball game went, because like playing with Davey and Tortugas over the summer was like wow. I was like sore as hell for days afterwards. Also, running shoes are not the best softball shoes. Almost bust my shit several times while playing softball. So I can only imagine what it might be. I feel like you got like gear for every activity that you're ready to do. Like you probably show up like mad prepared. I would be surprised if you didn't have a glove and cleats
I mean,
when you knew you was gonna play softball.
I have a glove now because Wilson popped up and a softball, but
Okay.
yeah. So, but it was like muddy. I was wearing like my Nike trail shoes. I thought that would be a smart move because I don't
So
have
smart woman right there. That's smart. That's man smart. You got extra grip, everything. I will say, I went into the gym today and I was mad nervous because I took this with me. And so
You're
like
equipped. It's a lot of
I
equipment.
was like, here we go. Like if y'all not watching on YouTube, I got my GoPro turned sideways. You know what I'm saying? I got the little rig so it record vertical, and then I'm literally like shaking right now. Like my whole body and thighs are like vibrating. And it's so fucking weird. But that, and then also like I got the small GoPro tripod and stuff like that. So I recorded my workout today. I'm gonna look at it, see if I post some of it. It's not like cool like how you see some people's workout reels and shit, and they be like buff and in shape already with like excellent form. And nah, my shit gonna look goofy. I'm lifting really light weights because I'm starting over and stuff like that. But it was nerve wracking putting
I
on
feel
my
like
camera, and I was like, but
it's part of the process, though. People are gonna see you where you at now, and then it's gonna be like, I remember Ian when.
when it was fat as hell. And I lift bench press at 25-pound dumbbells, you feel me? But it was stressful pulling out the camera and like trying to get the right angle on the camera around people. Luckily the gym was light today. I had to ask a couple people who was like right next to me, was like, hey, you mind if I record? And most people was like, yeah, go ahead. That's cool. But I felt very weird and like, what are we doing here? But it was fun. It was fun. I know you've been going to the gym. Have you like recorded anything from the gym session?
I mean, yes and no. Like, I don't feel like I'm the type of person that cares. Like, I don't want my content to be me working out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would rather like talk about my training than like training for a marathon or like what I'm eating and like the cooking that I'm doing versus like the workouts. Cause like I don't want to be clowned for like bad form. I don't want people to come at me like you don't have a straight back, so I'm not doing that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm giving those people hella material. Hella material. Like, oh, look at that nigga lifting. Look how he doing this. That ain't even gonna work. But I mean, we having fun with it. I'll have fun with the video too. I don't have no problem playing on myself, but it's it's cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, of course, there's like a cheap element to this, like, oh, I'm taking my camera to record so I can have more stuff on Instagram so I get more likes, more followers and stuff like that. But what I have realized is that in the last like month, a month and a half of going and like catching some content here and there and stuff like that, it's made me more excited about going to the gym and kept me more consistent and stuff like that because like there is that element, is just that funness that I get to stretch that workout throughout the day. Like there's endorphins I get from actually working out, but then later on in the day, I get to pop open Adobe, pop open Instagram, edit these joints up. I actually look at my form and critique it too, but it's just like it becomes like a whole little fun project versus just me just going in there lifting and getting my reps and tracking my weight.
Right, right.
So it's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I feel like I feel like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Instagram is Instagram. The content is content, but content is king. Everybody needs content.
You know,
Everybody. We want,
I
and the
will
thing
say
is the people that like say that they don't like it are the people who are watching you because like you're giving them something to watch. You know,
true, true, true. But I mean,
the
this
people
is
that don't post at all on their page, but just like use it as entertainment.
yeah, true, 2000%. I mean, but just so y'all know, like, it's probably people out here that you might see at your local gym recording. They feel mad insecure. They know how they look, but it's fun. It's legitimately fun. And the other cool thing is, I've learned how to track my weightlifting on my Garmin. So like I'm just like I'm not really pulling out my phone too much. I'm not getting distracted by scrolling on Instagram in between doing my rest and stuff like that. Like I'm just really able to like just dial in, lock in once I get the camera. Like I just press record one time when I enter the gym and then I'm just moving the camera around. I'm not stopping and starting, stopping and starting. So I'm not really focused too much on the camera. I'm just adjusting the angle. But everything, all my tracking is really done on my watch now. Um, and it's pretty simple. I mean, yeah, it's actually really simple once you understand the buttons. And I can go in later, check out my workout, check out my reps compared to the last time I did it, update the weights in there on the Garmin Connect. It'll show me which part of my body is based on the workout that's inputted. Sometimes you got to change it because it'll register the wrong type of lift or whatnot, but it'll show you what part of your body you was working out, which ones you was really in on, which ones was like the softer ones that you was working out, but it shows you every muscle that you was hitting during that specific workout. So it also informs me when it's time for me to switch this up and hit different parts of my body or de-emphasize certain things that I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 weeks. So it's been a little journey.
You about to be a Whoop ambassador in no time.
Listen. One of them better hit me up. Garmin, whoop somebody. You feel me? Shit, actually,
I started putting my workouts in my Garmin, and I'm like, it's changed my life.
right?
I like Mike always told me that I could do that, and then I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I can put my workouts in my Garmin, okay, but I like didn't know how to do it. But
Yeah,
then
it's weird.
it's weird, yeah, and it's like you can schedule it and stuff. But then when I figured it out, I'm like, oh, okay. No, I mean, I still don't really understand the beeping of like when I'm on the right pace versus not on the right pace. That part is like confusing to me.
Oh, you talking about your running workouts?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, like that's perfect for
yeah,
like speed and track workouts. Yeah,
yeah. So, anyways, I'm very late to that, but I figured it out,
yeah, yeah.
and
That's what's that.
it's changed my life. So, we have our guest in the waiting room. So,
Oh, let's pull it in.
yeah,
My lips all pink.
be
My
right
bad.
back.
Random. Okay, boom. We are back. We got our guests in the building. Y'all know we love Chicago. We love our city. So we love talking to the homies in the run clubs from our city. And right now we are blessed to be with Ruby, the captain of Venados Run Club. How you feeling, Ruby?
I'm feeling good.
Yes, yes. This is really cool. This is super cool to have you on in such a storied run club. In Venados, I feel like the theme for me this year has just been like realizing that there is so much like black and brown history in the running space, whether it's nationwide, but also just here in the city. Like it didn't it didn't start in like 2017, 2019. And I feel really, really happy about that. Outside of 312, there's other run clubs in the city that's been here for a long time. And I really don't even know where to start because I also know you, but I don't know too much about you at all. Like I don't know too much of your story, like how you got into running. I don't know how you ended up here with Venados and stuff. So like maybe, and Courtney, tell me if I'm wrong, like maybe we start with just Ruby and just like you start with how you got into running. Like why are you running?
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
Yeah.
I started running in high school. I wasn't doing anything else. I wasn't academically a good student. I wasn't good at I wasn't good at sports. Um, and I lived too far from my high school to be involved in extracurricular activities and after school sports.
What high
Um,
school?
I grew up in the inner city. I grew up in the southwest side, Pilsen McKinley Park area, and I went to
Okay.
high school in Oak Lawn.
Okay.
And so 2 buses there, 2 buses back. It was like an hour. It was like an hour commute.
Like city buses?
Yeah, the CTA.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
that's Chicago high school. I went to CVS,
Dang.
which is like an hour away from where I grew up and stuff like that.
mhm.
So yeah.
And
Did you
that's a
have
really
to ride a
common
pace
thing.
bus?
No.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, the CTA, got
yeah, just CTA. No, that's actually a really common thing in the city. Like everybody has their local CPS schools, and you have like your magnet schools, the schools you test into, your private schools. So yeah, it's a really common thing. A lot of students bouncing around at like a lot of different schools. So I went to school really far. I tried being involved in track cross country for a little bit. I was getting home every day at like 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Still got to do your homework, still got to shower, still have to eat, and be out the door the next day at 6 a.m. to get to school.
you.
So it just wasn't a feasible thing. And my mom was on her own running journey. So my mom started running, which is a whole nother story.
I was like, do I have y'all
No.
both on? Like, where
I
did we
know.
go? Do I have Lucy on this way?
That's a whole nother story within itself. And so since we were both kind of on like this journey, like we want to do something. And I feel like running is one of the most accessible. While it's not always accessible with like cost, with like shoes and races, it's still like get on some gym shoes, get on some clothes, and just put one foot in front of the other. Like you don't need a team to join, right?
Mhm.
And so one of her friends invited her to a local run club, which was Venados, and she started taking me. And as a high school student, I thought I was running with the coolest people ever. They were doing marathons, they were doing Ironmans, they were talking about Boston and qualifying times, and I thought that these are the coolest people ever.
Oh my God.
Um,
I
and
wish
What
Julius
year
had
is
that same
this? I
reaction.
feel like I'm sorry, but what year is this? Because I feel like people don't like Venados is low key the OG run club in Chicago, and this is something I'm finding out. So
for I think it was 2012, 2013. So I started running with Venados Run Club about 10, 11 years ago.
Mhm.
And that's about the time my mom started. Um, and I feel like Chicago Run Clubs will do a lot of races, and everyone always comes back to Chicago Marathon. And they're talking
Mhm.
about Chicago Marathon, and I'm like, what's a marathon? And so I, through them and like being inspired through them, I had signed up for my first marathon, and I ran it my senior year of high school. And so from then, I had the marathon bug. One of our runners,
Damn, a
Charles,
senior in high school?
and what I love to point
Wow.
out, a lot of people are like, that's too young, wait a few years. And I'm like, there's other high schoolers here, students from Chicago. They're
Yeah.
in the marathon deep every year. Um, and so I'm really fortunate that I had our local run crew to expose me to the Chicago running scene and for me at such a young age. And
Mm,
it really did have a strong impression on me, which is why I feel like I'm so passionate about it right now.
mm-hmm,
Because for me, it opened the gates to
mm.
the running community and the fitness industry in the city.
I
Which,
love it.
if you don't know, that's I'm in fitness full time now.
Yeah.
Um, and so at the time, one of our runners, Charles, worked at Nike Running Bucktown.
Star.
Shout out to Charles, a Chicago staple runner.
Yes,
Um,
legend. Okay.
yeah, a legend, a local legend. He helped me get a job at Nike Running Bucktown.
Word.
Um, so that was my first job right out of high school. And so if I wasn't inspired somewhere else, I was definitely inspired here at Nike Bucktown. Everybody
Yeah.
was running. Everybody's doing races. They're racing each other after work. That's where, so this summer, Venados, we did a beer mile. For me, that inspo came from when I was 17, 18 working at the store and they wouldn't let me participate in their beer miles.
I
Um,
love it, yo.
and then from there, I was a Nike pacer for I think a year and a half when Nike had their run club.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and from there, I was inspired to just continue my running journey. I started doing ultra marathons for a few years. And then the rest is really history. Then in
Ooh.
2020,
How old are you?
I'm 25.
You're not younger than me. I thought we was about the same age.
I feel like I just started
I,
at
I
such a
only,
young age.
I
I
only,
like
yeah,
a
that's
crossover.
why I thought that. That's why I thought that because
Yeah.
you've been running for so long and you doing so many things. I was like, oh yeah, we probably like she got to be between 30 and 33, like just like around my age and stuff. You're not 25, G. That is, you just blew my fucking mind. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. My
That's
first, the youngest you can get into Chicago Marathon is 16.
mm-hmm.
And that's how I found out. I was 16 when I was interested. I got my name in the lottery. I was 17 when I ran it. 18 when I ran my first 50K, the Lakefront 50-50.
Mm.
The next year I ran the Chicago 50 miler. I had the bug. I was that
You
runner
was
who was
in it.
like, what are all these races? I want to do every single one of them. And yeah,
I loved it.
and from there, there's like little pockets. I've dabbled in triathlons,
Mm-hmm.
dabbled in like speed and track running, but distance has always had my heart. And I
Mm-hmm.
really think that just because the runners in Venados really inspired that. And
Mm-hmm.
I was, my body can't handle all of that now. But at the time when I was at my peak, I was like, I can do everything. And I think it was like the
Yeah,
age too, right? Where like
yeah.
you're in your mid late teens and anything is possible.
You feel invincible.
Yeah. And you have a supportive run club that is also
Mm-hmm.
telling you, like, yeah, you can do anything. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
get you on a training plan. So the positive environment and everything. So that's my running journey and how I
I love
started.
that.
Definitely just met a lot of inspiring people along the way that
Mm-hmm.
introduced me to the running community all around.
I really love that. That's a beautiful story. Like that's dope to find out. I wish I used to bring Julius to I try to bring Julius to some of the gumbo runs, like at least on the track, like the walk and run. I mean, he was miserable. He did not care. He didn't think none of us was cool. He had a complete opposite reaction that you had. And it's really dope to hear that like you discover running so young outside of the school system, power through your teens, power through your early 20s. Like you are legitimately like a true seasoned runner. Like you at this point, listening to you could speak to just about every type of running that our community is usually involved in, from triathlons to 5Ks and everything in between with marathons, right? So you start running just as a team runner in Venados. You think everybody is cool. At some point, you become the captain of Venados. You and Lucy, y'all become y'all are the people who are running it. And you introduced me to Enrique last night, who was the one that kind of passed the torch to you, to my understanding. Can we speak about that? I guess we kind of like moving backwards in the Venados story all the way up to the beginning. So can we talk about like kind of that transition and who Enrique is and what was going on with that? Like I don't even know how to ask.
Yeah. So I'll push it back a little bit more in the timeline. But in the early 2000s, Enrique reestablished Venados Running Club with his dad, who we all call Pops. And Pops is one. Pops is amazing. And Pops is one of the original Venados runners from the 80s.
He told me he joined in 81.
1981.
Crazy.
And then you said that it started up again when?
Early 2000s.
Okay.
So in the early 2000s, Enrique and his dad reestablished the club. It originally started in Pilsen. And Enrique also grew up in Pilsen. And so he reestablished it early 2000s in Pilsen, gets his family involved, gets community members involved, running races, marathon, Shamrock Shuffle, everything in between. Another one of our favorite local races, Cara de los Muertos. And they kept it going a long time, early 2000s, into when everything shut down, into COVID times. And then this year, right before the summer, me and my mom were like, all right, like everybody's, coming back out. People are getting a little bit more comfortable. Let's reestablish Venados. And Enrique was like, oh yeah, like, I see it. Yeah, we're ready. And, this is something I did with my dad. And this is something that I've seen for me. You and your mom kind of come do it together too. Like me and my dad have. And I think, it's like a rite of passage right now for you guys. Like we're ready to pass the torch. They're still very, very much involved. And at first, me and my mom were like, no, like, we want you. This is your run club. We want you to lead it. Like, we fell in love because of everything that you and your dad did. And, like, we're thankful for everything that you guys have given us. And he was like, no, like, you guys are ready. So that happened this year. And then I guess from there, I'll take it all the way back in the Venados running timeline. Venados started in 1981 with a group of friends in Pilsen. They were running races together and then saw the gap in run clubs in the city. They saw run clubs in the suburbs, they saw some in the north side, and they saw one other run club in the south side, which was Rainbow Run Club out of Rainbow Beach. And from there, they established Venados Running Club and ran races together into the late 90s. Ran races everywhere. Mexico, Los Angeles, Hawaii. One of my favorite stories that one of the original runners recently told me, Pablo, since it's like 80s, 90s, you're still allowed to bring liquids onto planes. They were all doing the Hawaii Marathon, brought 2 bottles of tequila on the plane, passed it around the whole time, and they're like, we got off ready for the marathon, lit, let's go. And I was like, damn.
Oh, shit.
And something I think is really unique about a lot of the original Venados runners is that a lot of their families also grew up in the running scene in Chicago. And they're also very much involved to this day, whether it's doing races or volunteering for their local races, the marathon, things like that.
That's beautiful. That's cool. Just so much what do you call it? Generational involvement is beautiful because that's how we pass our stories. That's how we pass our traditions and stuff like that. And I feel like, well, for me, just because I'm biracial, so being a Black American, like I feel like in my family, I realized there are some traditions that get passed down, but there's so much that doesn't because of that lack of involvement from the generation prior to. and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the same in your culture, but from what I see, looking from the outside looking in, listening to your story, we just had David on, Davey on from Tortugas and stuff like that, and it's just like this complete involvement from the entire family, no matter whether it's all the way up to the old, all the way down to the very young. I mean, it's when y'all run on Wednesdays at Lo Rez, like it's dogs and kids in there too, like coming and hanging out. Like I saw somebody August's age chilling, So it's like it's beautiful to hear that it started that way and it's continuing that way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us, I'll say myself included, with the sport of running, have had a hard time with family members who don't completely understand what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so,
everybody.
and so when you find your run club family who also culturally share with you a lot of similarities, and you find family within each other and understand each other and support each other, where sometimes we feel like that might lack in other places in our lives and in our homes. It's really beautiful to find that within your running community, but also to find that you can also connect with your family here. Like, bring your cousins, bring your kids, bring your brothers and sisters, and connect. And there really is everybody of all ages at Run Club. So Enrique's son, who's also named Enrique, but nicknamed Kike, has been coming to Run Club since he was born.
That's fire.
And he thinks that at least I still think he's a little older. I think he's like the second grade now, so his opinions might change. But right now he's like every week at Run Club, like let's go Run Club, like, and he's ready to run. Lo Rez is right next to Dwork Park. So sometimes the kids will run the loops and laps around the park.
Oh, that's super fire. That's super fire. I think I spoke on this episode that's about to come out. But August ran his first race. It was like a reindeer dash. It was like 2 blocks out, 2 blocks back. So it was like four blocks. I feel like that's a city half a mile right there.
Yep.
And I could see because he definitely always came. He would come to like 7 on Sundays runs and stuff, but it was usually in a carrier because it was long. But he would always come to like the gumbo track workouts, do the warm ups, do laps around the track and stuff like that. And I was like, that shit done paid off because that boy was pacing himself. That last block, he had a little kick and everything. It was like, it was beautiful. But he was so happy because he would get so upset when we would go out for runs. He would have to stay back because the run was too far. He had to stay with me because I wasn't going, but everybody else was taking off. So for him to not be standing by just cheering, actually being able to participate and run was like, I know filled him up with so much joy. So much so that the following Sunday, when he came to 7 on Sundays with me, he was mad when they took off because he thought that they was gonna get a medal when they came back. And he's like, I want to go get my medal. Like, I need to go run. So it's like I say all that to say, like, in involving the kids, whether we're involving the children, whether it's direct or indirect, and you were a prime example of that. It's like, it's beautiful. You just creating culture and normalizing running for a whole other generation who won't even think the way me and you thought. Like, well, I would say me. That running wasn't for me because I didn't see myself doing it. They see themselves doing it with us. What does Venados mean? I know it's a Spanish word.
Venados means deer.
I love that.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know why they named it Venados. We've asked, and they're like, I don't know. We're like, okay. And like 8 years ago, the back of our racing shirts used to say, "Fear the deer."
Fear the deer. Oh, that's fire. That's fire. Karen, who loves deer, so I feel like they her spiritual animal protector or whatever. She was like, deer. She's like, if you see one deer, 9 times, especially a young deer, 9 times out of 10, like there's like 1 or 2 other deers like not too far away because they like move in like big or I think small family units and small packs and stuff like that. So maybe like picking that is that's kind of where it comes from because I think y'all like embody that to the
Family
utmost.
impacts.
Yeah. But just even as a family, as a unit, it's beautiful. I mean, I feel like we at some point we might need like a coffee book of like pictures and stories from run clubs like Venados because I think and I make this mistake all the time, but like I do get the stories kind of mixed up between Venados and Viento. And that's me probably being primarily English speaking and hardboiled Spanish. I just confused the two. But I feel like there's so much story and so much history there between those two. 3 Run 2. I think there's probably I feel like there's some other older clubs in the city. Like if we just like had a place to go to see all of that history and stuff like that, I would love that.
Yeah, the history really does run deep. But kind of speaking to what you said earlier, how runners, Black and brown runners, have been in the city and have been participating in races, and might have not always gotten that recognition either. It is like something I love to see and I love to highlight. And then on the races and pictures, Enrique recently shared a few pictures with me of Chicago Marathon, late 1980s, where they would mail you your film of your race pictures. And then you would pick out the film and then send it back to get printed. And I was like, what?
Yeah, Gabby told us about that.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know, that just never crossed my mind that that's how they did it. Like, it doesn't just show up in your email inbox, you know?
Right.
And I had shared like a picture of one of the films on Instagram recently. But I was like, there is so much history and so much story that I'm like, I want to say and I want to hear what everybody has to say. And then maybe even like where we've crossed paths in the past and might not have known.
2000%. Okay, so like Courtney, do you have anything about Venados?
I'm just writing my questions in the meeting chat. So you can be like, Courtney asks, what does Venados mean?
Right.
I'm gonna just write my questions.
And a question from Courtney from the audience. Well, okay, so Venados, that's beautiful, all well. But you did mention that you're in the space full time, like you are in what does this say? Can you expand on how fitness is now your full time? Oh, that's exactly what I was gonna ask. Yeah. Look, we in it. We right here. That's where I was going. That's my partner, y'all. You feel me? Well, Ian and Courtney would like to ask you, what do you mean by being in the sports industry full time? Like, what are you doing for? Like, is this how you making money? Like, this your job? Are you working for someone? What's going on? Like, where's Ruby now? Because she's able to be in sport full time.
So with running, when you start running, naturally, I like to say, what comes after that? You're like, I'm injured. You know, my foot hurts, my shin hurts. Let me start stretching. Let me take a yoga class, or let me strengthen my core, take this group fitness class. So through running, soon after me and my mom started running, we're like, now my hamstrings are really tight, right? And we started taking yoga classes. And that's kind of where I, for the first time, stepped into the boutique fitness realm in Chicago. And I started taking hot yoga classes when I was 15. And
you was in it, okay.
Let me tell you though, when I started running and then taking yoga classes, my academic grades improved like 180.
What?
But for me personally, in school, I struggled with like reading comprehension and focusing. I was a kid who had so much energy that I had such a hard time sitting all throughout the day. And so I could not focus. And so running, and then at the time, hot yoga classes we were taking were 90-minute classes in 105 degrees every single class. So you're just exhausted after. And I'm going to school now. I'm like, okay, now I'm not like, I have more attention to focus. Like I've channeled all of my energy elsewhere. And so it helped me academically a lot. And I say that to everybody, that fitness and movement has no age.
Yeah.
So then I started taking yoga classes, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And through the help of my mom, I was able to get my 200-hour yoga certification spring break my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And so out of high school, when I started working at Nike Bucktown, I enrolled in some community classes because even though my grades started improving, not quick enough.
Right.
I enrolled in some community classes, and I started teaching at my local LA Fitness.
Okay.
And and through that, I was just interested in the fitness realm as a whole, not just running. And that's where I fell in love with the boutique fitness industry in Chicago. And so I was a full-time fitness instructor throughout college. And after college, I graduated December 2019. We went into COVID right after that. Didn't give me any time. And October 2020, I bought into franchising. So I own Aerial Fitness in the South Loop, which is an aerial fitness studio.
That's dope. That's the place. That's the first place I tried aerial fitness. I don't know. You know Cicely?
Yeah.
She used to work in that. Yeah. So she had a class there, and I came to try it out. It was fun as hell, but it was like wild. It was wild. Courtney said that's amazing.
Thank you. Air, I think, is just so fun. Like I literally get to hang upside down every day. Like I go into air every day and I put all my stuff down and I hang upside down, and I'm just like, okay, now let's get back to work.
Oh my God.
But that exposure, it was a domino effect. I only say from starting at Venados Running Club, it was just a straight domino effect into all the doors that can be open, which in fitness, in jobs, in meeting people, and getting inspired. Because even when I was at Nike, I was still figuring life out, getting direction. And that's actually where I learned what marketing was too, when I was at Nike. Because, the Nike office is downtown. And, they would visit the store and they would say, oh, I do marketing for X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I don't know what that means though. And from there I was like, okay, I want to go to school for marketing. And I quickly discovered that math is involved. But that's a whole other thing for me. But I did go on to study integrated marketing communication at Roosevelt University. And so domino effect. I'm just passionate about all the doors it can open.
Yeah, hell yeah. I fuck with that. Aerial Fitness, you're a franchise to your business owner at 25. Like that's really dope. How long have you been? How long have you owned Aerial Fitness?
2 years.
2 years now. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we started our businesses around the same time.
Oh, you started.
I started in September 2020.
Oh yeah, around the same time.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Yeah, it's crazy time. You looked a lot less stressed than me, so you must be doing really, really good. I love it though. That's super cool. I'm gonna come down for my second class. I gotta get some dudes out because the first class I took was mostly it was me and 12 women. So I was the only guy there. But I will say, I didn't feel out of place. I was more nervous that like I might not be able to lift myself in front of all of these women. But once I got past that, I was like, oh yeah, nah, this is cool. Like this was fun as hell. I was
got
swinging,
this.
I was upside down. Shit was like popping. Like it was really fun. And relaxing. Like I almost fell asleep at the end. We had to do like this meditative joint. Because you just like dangling. But it was fine. That's the way I work, my bad. When Courtney asks, when did you become a Lululemon ambassador and how is that going?
So I became a Lululemon ambassador this year. I think it started June of this summer.
Okay.
And that has been going well. I'm going to backtrack it a little bit more in kind of a story. But when Nike ended Nike Running Club, I left Nike soon after that.
Oh, okay.
I was like, there's no run club anymore.
I'm done. Fuck this.
And I was still teaching, but I was like, teaching doesn't really pay a lot. So I started working at the Lululemon store.
Okay.
And
the one on North Avenue, the big one?
I worked at 900 North Michigan. No, I did not work at 900. I worked at the one on Rush Street and the one in Pilsen Market.
Got you.
And I'm not going to lie. I was like, I think ambassadorship's really cool. And I was like, I think I do cool things.
I love it. Advocate for yourself. You feel me?
And I left Lululemon soon after I bought the Air Studio in the South Loop. I was actually still at the Lululemon store for a few months after I bought Air because it was like illegal to operate still, technically, kind of. It's a weird time for businesses. So I was still at Lululemon for a few months after that.
Damn, you bought a business that you couldn't even fucking run. That's wild.
Well, when I bought it, I could run it. And then like 20-something days later, we went into the stay-at-home order. Like right before Halloween.
Yeah. Oh my God, like, it was like a fucking yoga speakeasy and shit. Like, yeah, come through the back door, come through the back. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Little ambassadorship. Let's go back to that.
And backtracking a little bit more, when I was in high school, Lululemon had just opened a store in Roosevelt Collection. And it was the first, like, furthest South Side store, which isn't even that far south. It was in the South Loop. And I remember when it opened, and I just thought it was the coolest store. And, like, I thought it was the coolest thing, the ambassador photos, because one of their ambassadors at the time had led my yoga certification. And so I just thought it was really unique how they highlighted leaders within the communities. And at the time Lululemon stores were doing like Sunday morning free yoga classes in the store, come before we open, like everybody's welcome. And Roosevelt Collection, I feel like, is also known for the free parking. And so while it was kind of out of the way, like you can just park right downstairs and it's free. Well, it's not as free anymore, but back then you could park there like all day and there was no charge. And so this year, when they asked me to be a part of their ambassador team, I was really excited because I really did admire the ambassadors that I saw at the South Loop location back in the day before they had closed that store. And it's still pretty new, so still kind of navigating to like what that means and the type of resources that can be available to the community through the ambassador program. But it's been a journey.
I love it. So you are the ambassador, but Venados is not a Lululemon powered run club.
Yes.
Okay. That's cool. I'm gonna try and get you in no trouble, right? Like, you feel me? But no, that's dope. Man, it seems like it. First of all, I'm still like in shock and awe at how accomplished you are and how young you are. But it feels like also like so many things continue to come full circle for you.
Yeah.
You know, is that something that's just happen? Like it just happens, or is that something that you kind of like mastermind and these things plan? Like are these things, on your vision board? You like, I'm gonna make this happen in a few years, or is this just something that you just, been moving through life with a certain amount of faith and direction and attention and things that just been falling in your lap? Like,
I honestly feel like, and not just me, I feel like a lot of people can relate to, I've never given myself enough credit.
mhm,
And I've never dreamed big, and I've never dreamed big enough to actually
mhm,
fit what happens. And so when I was in high school, when I first started running with Venados, my goal was to run a half marathon before my senior year. By the time my senior year came, I had participated in 2 marathons, like several half marathons.
mhm.
Um, and like I've just noticed as the years go on too, like I'll set these goals and then something even crazier happens. I'm like, maybe my goal isn't wide enough. I don't know. And
Yeah,
so I just now just go through life
yeah.
and see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
I know that
Yeah.
kind of sounds a little like nonchalant, but that's definitely like the way I like to take it. Like no one's ever going to know what opportunities are going to come up.
Mhm.
Just see what happens. Like I never thought that. I'm sure when you guys went to the Air Studio in South Loop, it was owned by its previous owner. I would have never thought like a year or two after that I would be owning that same Air Studio.
Yeah, yeah. Were
Yeah.
were you like, how did you even come up on that time? Was you working there, or was you just
Yeah.
like somebody who went there frequently?
I was a teacher there.
Oh, damn. So you went from teacher to owner.
And
That's
so
beautiful.
Cicely and I were teachers together around the same time.
Oh, oh, that's right. Okay. That's super cool. Wow. I don't even know where to go. Like, I think that's like really, really dope. I mean, it's cool because like we get to run together. I feel like in this community, so much of us run together, especially now since we like just in this era of of collaboration and just the overall community. People come into each other's run clubs. People spending time with each other outside of running. Like, to see the stories behind the miles is what it kind of feels like as me and Courtney interview more and more, especially the leaders and the captains. To see what y'all are doing, to see how y'all are doing it is awesome because at the end of the day, it's like we're all just like regular people, like just doing regular fun shit, and it's turning into something that can be motivational, influential for others. The space that you created in Pilsen at Lo Rez is is beautiful, and I'm grateful for you for doing it and keeping the Venados, keeping the dairy alive. Like it's fire. It's really dope. Do you have any plans for the future, whether it's like, a season out, a year out, 5 years out? Like, do you have any plans for yourself and for Nados going forward?
I have some 2023 visionary stuff that we'll announce as the months go on.
Okay,
But
okay.
for right now, we're just keeping it up. This year, there's a lot of runners who this will be their first winter running,
Hmm.
and like we're going to be out there every week, every Wednesday. Um, -50, probably not, right? But if it's around the zeros, you know what? We'll still be out there.
I love it.
So just continuing our miles, training for races.
Wait, I
Um,
think I heard somebody saying like if it's below 35, y'all gonna cancel.
below 35,
Yeah.
not even that cold below 35. Zero, below zero. If
Maybe.
if the news is like stay home, okay, we're gonna stay home. Um, if they're like just make sure you're really bundled, then just make sure you're really bundled.
Hmm.
But we've always run throughout the entire winter.
I
So
love
we're
it.
just gonna keep that up, keep showing up,
I
and
love it.
that's the plan right now. A lot of the runners are planning to run F3. You can catch
Uh,
me with an amazing cheer station as close to my car as possible. Little heat station.
where y'all gonna be at?
Um, somewhere along the path right before 31st Street Beach.
So we were, it's a park. Last year when we were doing it, it's a parking lot where, right where that workout station is.
Yeah.
That's where we were last year, and the parking lot is right there, and the path is right there. We see them both going and coming and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm gonna coordinate with y'all too, because I think we might have some runners doing F3 again this year. So I would much rather. I feel like the bigger the chance section, the better personally. Um, but let me know. Keep me posted on where y'all gonna be at. We might just come to y'all, bring our flag and whatnot.
I was gonna say maybe we'll come to you. I haven't been to F3 in a few years because I was scarred after one of the F3s that I did a few years ago. At mile 3, I just left.
Mile 3, you was just left?
I think it was F3. It was one of the really cold half marathons. Mile 3, I was like, I'm out of here. And so I'm like, I've done all the really freezing races, and I'm like, yeah, I left after mile 3. So I'm like, I'm gonna put on such amazing cheer stations this winter.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, I keep saying that I want to do F3, but it's in January, and I'm like, I don't know. That's not probably one of the only races I'm like afraid to do. It's just too fucking cold. Too cold. Courtney asks, of all of the distances and running experiences, what is your favorite race?
My favorite race is Chicago Marathon and the Chicago 50-50.
50-50, okay.
The Chicago Marathon, it's just the energy is absolutely unmatched. And I know the route has changed, but at the time, the route when it got into like right before Bridgeport on Archer, it was so close to where I grew up. And I was like, this has been right here the whole time. Like, why haven't I been out here?
Right.
And like, so Chicago Marathon, the energy is just unmatched. The support from all of the neighborhoods is unmatched. And the Chicago 50-50, I could be getting some of it wrong, but from what I remember, it's run by an older couple, and they're just so sweet. And the wife makes a pot of rice and beans. And so when you finish, she's like, here's a bowl. And it's just so sweet. And
oh my God.
Low-key so unsanctioned too, because there's a guy with a clipboard at the turnaround who's like, okay, that's your bib number, check. That's your bib number, check. And they're like, we don't have money for trackers. Like, we're doing this old school style. And I'm like, okay. Like, I love it. Such a sweet race.
It's such bare bones. It just brings it back down to what it's about. And it's about the running.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Courtney also asks, are you training for anything right now? And are you the type of runner who is looking to run all of the majors? Or are you, good with what you're doing?
My long-term running goal is to run a marathon on every continent.
Shit. Okay.
And my mom has a friend who just completed her 7th continent, which was Antarctica. And so
Courtney said it's lit.
The pictures look absolutely insane. And I think that's just like a wonderful life goal to have. That's been my goal for a while. Haven't gotten many other continents, but I'm like, I plan to run until I can no longer run. And so there's no rush for me to do it. And then I'm hoping to do a 70.3 Ironman sometime in 2023. I'm not a good swimmer. So we'll see how it goes.
What? What'd you just say?
An Ironman 70.3. It's not the full distance.
Oh,
okay. Half distance.
I thought it was more than the full distance. I was like, what? 73 what?
No, I'm not a strong swimmer. And so anything over a mile, I'm like, you lost me. Big Shoulders is a 5K swim I think it's September at Ohio Street Beach.
I was a lifeguard at that once.
I don't know how they do it. I tried one year. Boat took me out.
Boat took you.
Oh, like it's okay.
Oh
Not
my
a strong
god.
swimmer, so it's okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, they like swimming like a circle, if I remember correctly.
It's yeah, it's like a big triangle,
Yeah,
and
it's
like
weird. It's weird. I
you're
was a
swimming
lifeguard out there once. It was
sideways.
crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy. I'm like, you're swimming here, and the waves just here, and it just keeps going. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't do this. That one thing
Yeah.
I appreciate about running is that like you're upright on your 2 feet. Triathlons, you're like in the water, you're hunched over on a bike, kind of wobbly.
Oh my god.
I try so hard with triathlons.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
god.
they haven't been good, but I'm like, I'm gonna just keep trying.
So you're gonna use Chicago winter to train for Antarctica.
That's kind of
That's
funny because
cool.
I've been saying how anti F3 I am, and I'm also like, I want to run in the Arctic. That doesn't, but
That's a marathon too, right?
it's a marathon, yeah. Um,
That's wild.
and they're bundled. From the pictures I've seen, they have like those tennis rackets on their feet. They're
Yeah.
bundled. There's a penguin over there. Yeah, it's really
Yes.
cool. I'll probably like trot walk the whole thing, but
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well get it done before that shit melt, I guess. It's gonna be a tropical marathon. It'd be way too long.
might try to bump that one up sooner.
Right. Right.
Oh.
Let's make that happen. Okay. I mean, I don't have any more questions. I feel like so doing these interviews are fire. I really enjoy speaking to you and speaking to the runners. But every so once in a while, like we get stories and we get conversations that I need time to process. And then like after we get off camera and when I'm on about my day, I'm like, fuck, I got more questions now. Because I just need to digest it. I mean, the story of Venados and your story, your individual story is really cool. Really cool. I can't wait to see any goals for Venados in 2023 you want to share. That's what Courtney asked. And I know you was like, we be chomping at the blocks for some exclusives. I know you said you wanted to keep it tucked a little bit, but what we doing in 2020? Little something, just a little something.
I think one of our, and I don't know if it's a goal more so something we just want to do a little bit more. The Chicago running scene, it's not what it was 10 years ago. And I think something we'd love to do more of in 2023 is partner with other Southside run clubs.
Yeah.
Whether that's like on a collaborative run or like a collaborative race. But something I've noticed a lot with our runners is that they want more. They want more days of the week. And they're like ready to make more connections, meet more community members.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, let's do it. For me personally, it's a little hard because the air studio also takes up so much of my time and my evenings. And evenings is when you do runs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited to lead more into that in 2023.
Well, you know what I want to do. Matt. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna wait until we get off camera. I got you. Stay less. Last lap is, and this is a PSA for anybody. As long as Last Lap Corner Store is here, it is a home to all run clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you need to just switch it up a little bit, go somewhere else, do something, like, let me know. Like, I got hella outside. I don't have a whole lot of inside, but I got hella outside. And so we can have some fun. We can do things like, then we got the park right there, like less than a block over. We got 2-3 blocks of nobody really driving on it. Like, it's come down. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what Last Stop Corner Store is here for. It's a hub. It's not just for people to shop, but it's to be utilized by the running community. So any and always, if you need a space to come and do some fun shit at, please come. There's no rental costs. Just make it fun so I can have a fun time. I'm usually there by myself. So unless the customer comes in, I'm there by myself. So having people at the store is payment enough. That was for the run clubs, not the brands. Brands, y'all gotta. Courtney said buy shoes. Yes, please buy shoes. Okay. That was enough for the last Corner Store commercial. That's fun. 2023, I want to see what y'all doing. I'm really excited. So during the summer, actually, I had a Wednesday recovery run for runners and stuff like that. And I think the most I got was probably like 10 or 11. And there's two reasons why I feel like I only got 10 or 11. Well, one was because like recovery run isn't sexy. It wasn't meant to be sexy and stuff like that. It was meant to be a place where like runners can come. Everybody has a track Tuesdays. Everybody has a long run. They got all of the sexy runs already. But a lot of our runners are just like going 8 to 10 effort so many times during a week that they, even though we tell them dozens of times, like, you need to slow down, you need to do some recovery runs, you got to do some chill space. That's how you get faster. Nobody's ever really doing it. So I just want to provide a space where people can do that intentionally, but also hang out with each other. The bigger reason why I feel like I only got like 10 to 11, like 5 to 10 runners coming out is because Venados Wednesday run is fucking lit, and I cannot compete with Venados' Wednesday run. Like the vibe at Lo Rez, the taco truck is out there doing this summer, the beer is fire. So like I say all that to say, if anybody's listening, you have not been to Venados Wednesdays at Lo Rez, you need to pull up. It is definitely a vibe. I will not be hosting any more Wednesday runs. They probably gonna be on some other day because I want to go. Okay, like at 7:00, I pack in my bags, and especially when I have the car, I am pulling up to Venados. When I don't, it's a little tricky because I got to catch the metro train until I move back to the city. But between now and the summer, I'm gonna be popping in a little bit by little bit, and in summertime I'll be there every Wednesday. Like, let's go.
I'll say over the summer, it was a vibe every week.
Yes.
We started at 7 and I wasn't getting home till 11, and Lo Rez closes at 10.
Yes. It's the energy.
Yeah. And like, and not anymore, but I used to teach a 8:30 a.m. class on Thursdays at Yoga 6 in the South Loop. And like, I wasn't getting to sleep until midnight, and I'm like, I'm a sleeper. So I was like, my Thursdays were miserable. It's like, you guys, I gotta go. And I never left. The vibes were just vibing. And I didn't want to leave.
Let's go. Let's have some fun this summer.
All right. I tell everybody, it's the community. It's every single community member who is so welcoming to each other, welcoming to new runners. It's a vibe.
There we go. What so Courtney is asking, one, how do you join? Do you have merch? And then also share with us the time, distance, and routes on Wednesdays.
You just show up to run. No signups needed. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m. out of Lo Rez in Pilsen, right off Cermak. There's a ton of free parking around the building. We do 3 or 5 miles every week. Merch is a little tricky right now. I buy a bunch of tanks and then I take them to get printed, and then I sell them out of my living room, which is not easy. I feel like a mini retailer sometimes. But we do.
We all merch as well.
Yeah. But we do print locally at Chicago Midwest Made off of 18th and Ashlands in Pilsen. So the really cool thing about that is if you were like, I really want merch, and I don't want to wait until Ruby's mentally ready to do another drop, you can actually go into Chicago Midwest Made and say, hey, can I see the Venado prints that you have, and can I get something printed? And Mario can do it right then and there for you.
That is cool as fuck. I'm also looking for a screen printed, so I might pull up on that.
And it's local, right up the street, right on 18th Street. And I love his prints. I've had some of his prints for years, never peeled. I think that's one of the biggest ones when you're printing. So
I love that. Awesome. Where can they follow you in Venados?
Follow us on Instagram at Venados Running and run with us on Strava. I don't know how to navigate Strava yet, but you can join the club.
Yeah.
On Strava.
I just found out that was a social network. Like I thought we were just tracking our fucking miles. I didn't know that was a active social network. So yes, join the Venados Strava Club. Anything else you want to leave us with before we pop out?
Thank you guys for having me, and I hope to see everybody there Wednesday, all throughout the winter.
Yeah. I think this episode is coming out after next Wednesday, but just in case, pull up on the 14th because last time we'll be in the building, we'll be doing fittings for sports bras. Of course, you could buy the sports bra if you like what we have. We'll be bringing Nike sports bras, but either way, come in. We'll get you fitted. We'll give you your measurements. You get to walk away with your measurements, so you can get the sports bra that fits perfect for you. And anybody who gets fitted can also get a drink on us. Okay, so whether you like your beer, you like your kombucha, you can get a Damon, you can get whatever you need. That's my favorite drink. I got lit off that last night. But whatever drink that you like at the brewery, it'll be on us if you get fitted. So pull up. But thank you for coming through. I appreciate you, Ruby. Can't wait to run more with you.
Thank you, guys.
Peace. What's up? Okay, y'all. That was Ruby from Venados. I mean, my mind is still blown from her story. My mind is still blown at the fact she's 25. Shout out to her for going hard and not stopping. But I don't know. Since Courtney is sick and I am just uncontrollably shaking from lifting weights. I think we're gonna call this one. I think we can end on a really high note with Ruby sharing us the history. If you want to know what Courtney is doing, please pull up on YouTube. She is currently signing all of her emotions. And everybody, you know what I'm saying? Go pull up on her page. You know what I'm saying? Tell her to, send her, get well soon on her pages or something. Send her chicken noodle soup emojis or something. Let her know that you're thinking about her. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.